All right, this is episode 6 of the official Shipmate Sports podcast. Joey here has he has devised a list of 10 topics that we are going to talk about, and I think we're just going to get right to it because I am tired.
Mikey's on location and he needs to get some rest.
I am on. Yes, I am. Yeah, we do. Believe it or not, yeah, we do have full-time jobs, and they can get in the way.
Well, listen, Mike, if we can get to 20, 30 million people watching us, then maybe this will be our full-time job.
I think it'd be cool if we had 20 or 30 people watching us. That's what we gotta, start. Gotta baby steps, right? That's where we start.
All right, dude, I want to roll right into it. I came up with a list of 10 things that I wanted to go over. The first thing, man, I was watching Fox 1 this week, and their host there, Nick Wright, he went into his list of top 10 people, going into the 2021 season. He had my guy, Tom Brady, listed at number 10. He's a known Brady critic. He's just a known Brady hater. I don't really care about the whole rating things that much. I just, number 10 for Brady it's insane. And then when you look at the people he's got listed in front of him, I'm just gonna go through his 1 through 9 real quick, Mike, and then then we can just piggyback off of that. He's got Pat Mahomes at 1, Aaron Donald 2, Derrick Henry 3, Aaron Rodgers 4, Jalen Ramsey 5, DeAndre Hopkins 6, Myles Garrett 7, Travis Kelce 8, and Fred Warner, the linebacker from San Francisco, 9. So he's got those people ahead of Brady. And I'm not knocking any one of those 9. Pat Mahomes, I think, is universally agreed across the board. He's the best player in the NFL, period. And I think me and you are on the same page on that one. I've told you before, I think the running back position is, just completely overvalued. So to have Derrick Henry as the third best player in the NFL is crazy, in my opinion. And some of those people, they just put them above Brady to put them above Brady. The first one I want to go to real quick, Mike, I want you to put Brady against Aaron Rodgers. And where are you going with that one?
Somebody once said, to be the man, you gotta beat the man.
I believe you added
That's how it is. If I recall correctly, Tom Brady beat Pat Mahomes. Well, not directly beat Pat Mahomes, but Tom Brady won that Super Bowl last year against Pat Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
2 years prior, he beat him in Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
I'm not a history major. I'm not. But I think that's historically accurate. And so I think that Tom Brady beats anybody on that list. Anybody.
So do you think that this guy's just blowing smoke to blow smoke, or do you think he genuinely believes what he's saying?
I think that, there might not be enough to talk about right now. So these lists come out. Like the NFL Network does their top 100 players of 2020 or 2021 or whatever it was, and then somebody, and by the way, Nick Wright, he said a lot of things over his career that I agree with. He's been, he's pretty objective in what he says, and more often than not, he's right. And he's pretty good in his analysis from what I've seen and everything. Not that like I'm like the judge of sports analysis guy, and
I got you.
That's kind of like my opinion. But this is kind of like, hey man, we need a topic. It's Wednesday, so do something. And he puts Tom Brady behind Myles Garrett, and other linebackers. Linebackers don't affect the game. No position. That's why you have Pat Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers, the top 2 spots, because the quarterback position affects the game more than any other position. So if you want me to put Brady against any of those guys, including Aaron Rodgers, I will take Brady.
Yeah, and I just, when I was sitting there watching it, I was like, I can't believe that this guy believes what he's saying.
Did you get a feeling that it was disingenuous, like when they were going through their segment or something like that?
I don't know. I mean, like you said, I feel like it could have just been something to throw out there to get views where, maybe there's not a lot going on. But he tried to rationalize it by saying, what I said at the outtake, that everybody agrees that Mahomes is number one. And then he threw out that anybody's going to take Rodgers at this point over Brady, which I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly true, because I mean, even Rodgers is starting to get a little long in the tooth. Rodgers isn't young anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
and at their ages, you granted now Rodgers is younger than Brady, but Brady has still performed better in the playoffs than Rodgers has.
where is Tom Brady's decline? When has he declined?
When? I don't know.
He has not declined yet. We have not seen
his last year in New England. He wasn't great, but he also didn't have a lot of things with him, and he still won the division.
I'd like when he declines, and they're eventually, Father Time is undefeated, kind of like the internet. But I mean, when Tom Brady declines, and eventually he will, it will happen. Everything has a shelf life. Everything deteriorates over time, including us, and that's okay. It's part of the human condition. But he hasn't had that yet. We haven't seen Tom Brady not be successful ever since he's been in the league. The only, except for the injury season where Matt Castle came in, but Tom Brady hasn't had, and people like Max Kellerman and now Nick Wright and probably other voices in the sports community have tried to predict Tom Brady's decline, and it hasn't happened. And when it happens, we can put stock into it. But right now, I'm bullish on the Tom Brady stock. I'm holding.
The guy won the Super Bowl again last year. I mean,
just won the Super Bowl. How do you win a Super Bowl and be like, yeah, you know what? There are nine other guys that I would have rather than you. You have people in Tampa Bay right now, actual players who Antonio Brown was out of football. Gronk was on the beach, and they're coming.
He wanted to come back to play.
Yeah, and Pat Mahomes, while he will there is an attraction to playing Kansas City, and I mean, I think Randall Cobb just went back to Green Bay, so I mean, there are players that want to play with Pat Mahomes and with Aaron Rodgers, but not like Tom Brady, not to the magnitude. I mean, Ndamukong Suh was going from team to team and stuff like that, and he's like, "Nah, I'll stay in Tampa." I'll stay there, and because they know they have it, that defense knows, hey man, let's get the ball back to Brady because we want to win. I mean, it just is what it is, man. He's, in my opinion, he's the greatest there's ever been, and there hasn't been a decline yet. When he declines, then we can say, hey, there are other people in this league better than him. We haven't seen it. What is this? We legitimately haven't seen it.
It's just there's so many people that are tired of Brady. I mean, 22 years now. So people are just tired of it, and they just want to believe that it's over, and they want to believe he's not as good as he is. But the guy just wins. And this, like I said, I think this is right blowing smoke. He's been a known Brady hater since forever. And like I said, you mentioned there are talking points that he's had that you do agree with. So I'm not knocking the guy. I think this particular thing, I think he was just trying to get views.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all right, man. I mean, sometimes you gotta, sometimes you gotta talk about something, I guess.
Next, dude, number 2. Lamar Jackson came out this week saying that, the league has not figured him out. What I mentioned to you was he won the MVP in 2019. He had a very good season. I believe he threw for 35 touchdowns, ran for about 1,200 yards, which was just amazing. But last year, his numbers dipped across the board, less touchdowns, more interceptions, less rushing yards, lower completion percentage. Was that a bad season, or has the NFL started figuring out Lamar Jackson?
I don't think that when you have an MVP year like that, it's tough to repeat that type of performance. Maybe they had a favorable schedule. Maybe they played Detroit. Who knows? I mean, I didn't go back and look at what their schedule was, but I mean, they do play in the AFC North, so I mean, that's a pretty good performance there in his, you know, you win MVP for a reason.
Yeah.
And you don't just say like, oh, you know, let's flip a coin and see where it lands, or throw it at the wall, and you know what I mean? Like, people are watching and paying attention. And so I think that it's, you know, predictable to have a dip after that. Like, that performance isn't sustainable.
No.
Really. So I mean, yeah.
Really quick, was that his rookie season? Or was that his year 2?
I think it was year 2.
Yeah, okay.
I want to say it was year 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that the longer that he's around in that same offense, under Harbaugh, who's done, by the way, Harbaugh may not be getting enough recognition as one of the top coaches in the league, but I guess
to me, he's the second best coach in the NFL. No question about it.
Yeah. But you know, so I think that the longer that Lamar plays for, and the longer that his play style doesn't change, the league will figure him out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we all kind of know what Lamar Jackson is. Mm-hmm. I mean, some people have referred to him as, you know, like the third running back on the team, but he also passes. You know, he's not like.
So that's my question. Is, do you think that he is a run-only quarterback, or do you believe that, you know, he's got a chance, you know, to be a good? Can he be a pocket quarterback? I guess what I'm trying to ask you.
I don't know. I don't know if he can just be a pure pocket passer, like Phillip Rivers, or like Brady, or anything of that, you know, type of style. That's not really his game. But I mean, the thing about running quarterbacks, and the thing that's always been true about running quarterbacks, is that you can't take hits. You cannot. Not saying that you're unable to do so, but the more hits you take, the more, the higher the risk is, the higher the chance is that you're going to get injured. Mm-hmm. So, you know, the defense isn't out there to make sure that, you know, it's not two-hand touch, right? They're there to do as hard as they can. I mean, I know the rules are changing and stuff like that, but once that quarterback becomes a runner, the defense's eyes light up. I mean, you're talking about like, oh, you're running now? You think you get, and they're gonna, you know what I mean? That's their job. You know,
so the thing, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. I don't care.
So I feel like he made that statement because I think he believes that the league is starting to figure him out. You know, my thing is with a quarterback is I want a quarterback that I know that if I get down, you know, 1-2 touchdowns, even more, 3 touchdowns, this guy is capable of throwing me back in the game. I don't think you have that with Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to be able to keep a game close. Like, he can win a close football game. But if Baltimore gets behind and down big, I don't see him being able to throw his team back in, and make enough plays with his arm. Yeah, he can run, he can be a ball control, but I don't think that he can move an offense fast enough down the field with his arm, to get back in, you know, if they're down 2-3 scores.
I think that, you know, you have to be confident in your ability. So of course he's going to say, nah, I don't think they figured me out. And there are other, I mean, even guys, you know, people that have been playing at the quarterback position for a while, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, up until he retired, and Matt Stafford still puts out numbers. And I mean, Lamar Jackson will too. And, you know, that I agree with what you're saying. You know, can he push the ball down the field, right? Which is a must-have in the NFL, is, you know, getting those chunk yardage plays, getting a 25-yard pass when you're down 2 scores or 3 scores. So, I mean, I don't know what Lamar Jackson's like fourth quarter comeback numbers are. But I mean, I kind of agree with you there, because if you're a running quarterback, which he is, the clock's going to keep moving. especially in the fourth quarter. And you need as much time as you can. And I mean, if you can, push the ball down the field as fast as you can with your arm, it doesn't have to be from the pocket, but it has to be, you have to be able to, push that ball down the field. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, Tom Brady, like those guys. And I mean, my concern about the running quarterback is the injury. That's inevitably going to happen. So no, I don't know if the NFL's figured him out. I think he had a down year last year because the year previous to that
was so good.
Statistically, it was just really good. I mean, you're not really going to repeat that. But I kind of.
What is Lamar Jackson then? What is his? Obviously, his top ceiling is that MVP season. Do you think that he's a starting quarterback?
Absolutely starting quarterback.
So is he just, is he a Pro Bowl quarterback that, he's right around a pro?
You can win games in multiple ways. You don't have to do it from the pocket. You don't have to do it constantly on the run, stuff like that. But you have to be able to win these games.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I mean, and he does. He
has won.
Baltimore isn't, they're not the cellar dwellers of the AFC North. And so I don't think, he's Lamar Jackson. That's who he is. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Pat Mahomes. He's not Russell Wilson. He's Lamar Jackson. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not any of these guys, man. I mean, I don't know. He's not Cam Newton. He is who he is. I think he's a starting quarterback. I wouldn't mind having him in Detroit. We got Goff. It's cool, whatever. But I mean, I would take Lamar Jackson over Jared Goff, man. He's a playmaker, dude. He's so dynamic. If he stays healthy, man, doesn't take those hits, I'd love to have him. Personally.
All right, well, we'll just keep moving along here, buddy.
Yeah. I will say too, they have put the pieces in place that he needs to sucdeed there in Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
So I think
that their line is solid. They have a solid line. They did work on that. Did they keep the running back there?
I don't know. I just saw. I wanted to get that last bit in. Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So they have stuff there that Lamar's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
All right. We want to talk about some rookie quarterbacks. There were 5 taken in the first round this year, Mikey. Trevor Lawrence was taken with the first pick. Lawrence went to the Jags. Zach Wilson went to the Jets. Trey Lance went to the Niners. Justin Fields went to the Chicago Bears. Mac Jones went to my Patriots. Two-parter here, Mike. Which quarterback do you think will get the most starts this upcoming season? Which do you think will have the most success this upcoming season?
Well, I don't think Mac Jones will get the most starts. I still think Cam is week 1 starter. Mm-hmm. And I think that is, it's Cam may have a very short career left in New England.
Yep.
But we'll see. I think that Trevor Lawrence will get the most starts.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Urban Meyer has made it not definite, but it sounds like he's leaning towards Trevor Lawrence as being the starting quarterback.
I think that situation really matters. Mm-hmm. I think that Mac Jones probably went to the best situation. I think Trey Lance.
You mentioned that, yep.
Yeah. And so who do I think will have the most success this year? It's not going to be Trevor Lawrence.
Okay.
You get drafted number 1 overall to that team for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. It's not going to be Zach Wilson because I need to see something from the Jets. I need to see it. Right?
He's looked. I know it's preseason, Mike, but he's actually impressed me. He looks good, and the reports out of New York is that he is the real deal. But you got to see it first. You got to see it.
Don't we look? Let's get some regular season games in there, mm-hmm. And then we can, we know what we got going for us. But I mean, I don't want them to do bad, but let's see. A lot of these guys, historically, a couple of these guys are going to fizzle out, right? Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance went to the second best situation. He might not even play this year. And Justin Fields, he's like, I don't know. There's so much excitement around him in Chicago. It's gonna be tough to live up to those expectations. This is preseason football. This is we really need, as football fans, I know it's exciting. We really just need to just bring it back down and remember that coaches right now, teams, front offices, they're still figuring out their rosters.
Yeah, I mean, sorry about that. I think the other thing too is some of these fan bases need to relax with their expectations of what a first round pick is. Excuse me, what a first round quarterback pick is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
The hit percentage on quarterbacks, not very good in the first round. I had a list here and I couldn't find it, Mike, of some of the names recently that have been selected in the first round. And I mean, some of them have just been stinkers. I mean, EJ Manuel, Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Mariota.
I was gonna say, you remember Jake Locker? Like, what,
Paxton Lynch. I mean, Mikey, there are some real doozies in the last 10 years. Jake Locker, Blaine Gabbert, Christian Ponder, Mikey.
Sam Bradford, man.
Brandon Whedon. So I think people, and I'm saying this because around here, people are just going insane about Mac Jones. Temper your expectations a little bit, okay? My pick of the most starts, I think I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence, just because I think he's already won the job. I think the most successful this year, I think it's going to be Zach Wilson, because he's going in with I think he's got the lowest pressure on him. And they're going to look at, he doesn't have to do a lot there to be considered successful, if you think about it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of like relative to the success that the Jets have had in the past. We're talking about what we define as success outside of the New York Jets. And I mean, he can go 2-14, but I mean, ultimately success is going to be defined by winning.
See, and
you have to win. There's no, you don't lose. You don't go 0-16 and keep your job unless you're QB.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this isn't.
I mean, talent-wise, I mean,
right?
Like, definitely seemed like Justin Fields has a lot there. And then, the reports are Mac Jones is looking really good. But like I say, I mean, it's just such a low hit rate on first-round quarterbacks that I think some people need to realize that, listen, Mac Jones, there was a quote way back when one of the Celtics coaches, Rick Pitino, Larry Bird's not walking through that door, whatever. Robert Parrish isn't walking through that door. Brady's not walking through that door. Mac Jones is not Tom Brady. And I think some people around here think that that's what he is.
Yeah.
Listen, if we can get Andy Dalton out of him, you know what? That might be what we have to deal with. And you might have to win with an Andy Dalton type quarterback.
I mean, I think that if you got Andy Dalton now, because Andy Dalton had success in Cincinnati, he did, and he kind of bounced around. I mean, and that's kind of like what I was getting to. I think that Mac Jones has the most support of any of these quarterbacks where he landed in New England. I think that that's just the best. I
think Lance can be set up pretty well there in San Francisco.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that Jones landed in the best situation. It's like Jones, Lance, Fields, and then Wilson and Lawrence. It's close there with Jacksonville and the Jets, but I mean, you're picking that high for a reason, man. It's you got,
you're not going into a good
coming in. And I don't know about Urban Meyer coming in, man. I mean,
reports out of there are not very good about Urban Meyer, Mike. There's already talk that the players don't like the coaching style. And
Oh, man.
like we mentioned before, Mike, you know, it's going to be humbling for him going into that type of environment and not being able to blow teams out. I mean, he's he's probably already got as many preseason losses, you know, as he had his entire college career. You know, the guy is just used to going in, and because of who he is, and you know, just going in and rattling off 50 points and winning 50-7.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to happen anymore. He's actually
I,
playing. There's a team on the other sideline with a capable head coach and players that are as good as yours now. You know,
yeah. Yeah. The
he's on.
draft.
You know, Trevor Lawrence is going to get killed this year. I mean, the line is terrible. So it might be smart to not play Trevor Lawrence and put Gardner Minshew back there, and you know, try to work your line a little bit before you stick him back there. But like I said, it already sounds like they're putting Trevor Lawrence in.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that, I mean, Trevor Lawrence also gives Urban Meyer the best chance to keep his job,
yeah,
right? If Urban Meyer doesn't play Trevor Lawrence, then the front office is going to be like, you know, why isn't Trevor in all this stuff? And it's going to be like, well, I don't want to ruin him. And you
yeah,
are risking that, hey, that possibility of just ruining Trevor Lawrence's NFL career. And
yeah.
it's kind of not fair to Trevor Lawrence, but you know, take a freaking number, dude. Like, welcome to the not. It's the not fair league. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, whatever, man. So I think you know, Mac Jones, if and when he starts, you know, week 6, week 7.
You're right. He's definitely going into the best situation. He's got the best team around him. He's got the best coaching staff around him with obviously Belichick and McDaniels. So he's got the best. You're right. He's going into the best situation. But like I say, I mean, with all those other names, I mean, it's just so hard to say that the guy's a sure thing.
Yeah,
You know what I
I mean
mean?
that. Yeah, I don't think any. The thing about the draft is it's a crapshoot at best.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say that, you know, scouting has gotten better over the years, but I mean, if you hit on 40% of your draft picks, you're doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I don't know, man, just trade some picks, dude. Who can, like, a lot of these guys, a lot of the NFL comes in as undrafted.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, so that's kind of like where I'm at with it. I think Mac Jones will have the most success. I think Lawrence gets the most starts. After
Yeah.
that, if and the thing is, Jimmy G might go down again,
Mm-hmm.
and then we're gonna see Trey Lance come in there and.
And like I mentioned, I mean, I think he's got a pretty decent situation over there in San Francisco too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
when you have a guy like Kittle as your tight end, as to be a safety net, you know, you're pretty lucky. And you know, what do they got? Dabo Samuel is their lead wide receiver. So he's got weapons out there too.
Yeah, and Kyle Shanahan's just
Kyle
he's
Shanahan,
great
really good coach.
man.
So yeah, so he's got himself a good situation, but like it sounds like Jimmy's gonna have it this year, and then they'll move forward.
Yeah.
But all right, well, let's go this way. So
I like
the
these
Buffalo.
pictures you got set up, man. You know, this is kind of. I feel like I'm not contributing. Like, you know.
I'm learning. All right, so the Buffalo Bills. Story out of there. They won a new stadium. You know, the Bills Mafia, this and that. But the ownership wants a new stadium. They're not getting a lot of support by the town. I did not realize this, but they're actually a very small market. When I was looking at it, I want to say they were somewhere in like the mid 50s as far as sports markets goes. You know,
Jackson or like
in the United States. Jacksonville's a bigger sports market. Columbus, Ohio is a bigger sports market. There's several teams without football teams that are bigger sports markets than Buffalo.
Okay.
That being said, it is the Buffalo Bills, you know, like we said, the Bills Mafia. Real quick, I mean, do you think Buffalo should move if they are unable to get the stadium? My opinion, it's the Buffalo Bills. It's such a historic franchise. You got to stay there. They got to figure something out to keep that team in Buffalo. But that's from what I've never been there. But I have heard it's a dump of a stadium. So I don't know. I mean, if they're not able to, do you think they should up and move?
Well, we've seen this lately from the NFL where, um, hey, if the team doesn't get their stadium, the NFL, the owners will get together, they'll figure out a city, and then they'll move the team to that city. They did it with the Rams, they did it with the Chargers, they did it with the Raiders a couple times.
Yep.
I mean, they even did it with the Ravens, or Browns, however. And then they gave Cleveland a team to get. But I mean, that was back in the day. But this isn't. I mean, I agree with you that Buffalo is a storied franchise. They have had success there, and recent success and success in the past. They've had the down years, just like everybody else, except the Patriots, who we all hate. Just kidding. But I would like to see some negotiations first. I don't want it to just be like, give us a new stadium or we'll move. I saw a story there where the owners want the public to fund 100% of a new stadium. I would have a problem with that. I do have a problem with that because the owners are worth billions of dollars.
Yeah. You would wish that they would put some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I know like the whole economics and all that stuff. And I'm not going to try to say that I do, but if you're trying to build your franchise and this team seems like it's on the up, I mean, getting them a better stadium, I think would help.
Can't they just build another stadium in Buffalo? Do they have to leave Buffalo? Like, I mean, is there no other place to, I mean, I know the real estate market isn't the best right now, but I mean,
there's got to be a market, like I said, where they're in the 50s. There's got to be a market out there that would say, sure, we'll build a stadium for you. We'll put you.
I mean, dude, they could come on down to Orlando. We've hosted the Pro Bowl a few times. I mean, we got stadiums. We could probably build you one with all the what's it called, the tourism money. I mean,
I'm telling you that. So there's locations out there that would host, but like I say though, I mean, Buffalo is just such a historic franchise. I
agree.
I don't want to pick on them, but they're kind of like the lovable loser franchise.
The Bills are. I mean, this is not what it used to be. The NFL, they're trying to put a team in London. Right? They might put a team in Canada, maybe Mexico. I mean, the NFL is not thinking small potatoes anymore. And that's probably another reason why. Well, I think there's two reasons why this is coming up is because of that, right? They're trying to go global and international and everything like that. They want to grow the game. They're going to do everything they can to do that. Also, recent success. They want to strike while the iron's hot. And, they just paid Josh Allen all that money, or they're going to pay him all that money. And I think that the owners think that they can capitalize on that, and you know what I mean? I want to see some. Let's have some back and forth. Let's have those conversations.
Get some dialogue going for them to try.
You don't just say like, "Give me what I want," or "I need." You're not. It's like a 5-year-old.
I mean, isn't that what the Raiders owner there did?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that story. I haven't.
I think he basically just told Oakland, make me a stadium or we're out, and they couldn't come to anything. So he said, all right, we're going to Vegas.
I mean, I think that's what happened with the Rams. I know the Oilers moved to Tennessee. I don't know what happened there, and then now Houston has a team again, kind of. But I mean, I can't really talk crap about other cities' teams, but
yeah.
I mean, let's have those discussions. Let's come to the negotiating table. Let's see what we can do. I don't think that the public should fund your stadium at all. I think that if you want a new stadium, you take the money that the NFL earns every year and the money that you get from, finding
broadcast rights and all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. And you can, right, maybe the league funds, half, and then the owners fund the other half. It can't be, you're talking about people worth more than $1 billion and they want a multi-billion-dollar stadium, and you're worth like, 5 or 6 billion. You can pull the funds to, you know what I mean, dude? Like sell some stock.
There's ways to do it.
Yeah. So
and they should. The fans.
They deserve a new stadium. They totally do.
it's a good fan base. I think the Bills Mafia thing's a little overblown, like the idiots jumping through tables and all that stuff. But it is a good fan base. They have been there with the team through their lows, and
Yeah,
I'd like to see them
absolutely.
stay there.
You can't just leave Buffalo with the Sabres, man. I mean, they got nothing else, dude. Come on, Why don't you just move the team across the street into Toronto or something? You ain't gotta whatever.
All right, Mike. Who's on the hot seat? Who's on the hot seat this year?
Why don't we just end the show right now? What is you got? Yeah, no, all the coaches you could put up on the league, all the coaches in the league that you could put up on your background.
He's on the hot seat for me.
He shouldn't even have ever been on the seat. Like,
no, he shouldn't have, and that's why he's got a very short lease. And I think his butt's on fire right now.
Yeah, I think McCarthy there in Dallas.
I mean, that was a terrible. See, now part of it, I think the reason why he's got a lifeline is because of Dak's injury. But if they're not in the playoffs next year, McCarthy's gone.
I'll say this, man. Who's the last in the NFL, like the overweight coach that's like won consistently?
Andy Reid.
That's a good. Okay, I'll be quiet. That's good. Well, I'm saying, like, coaches typically aren't runway models or anything like that. I get it.
Yeah.
But I think that your physical appearance, like the way you take care of yourself kind of says something, and maybe that's just my personal bias against Matt Patricia. Right.
You do not speak highly of Mr. Patricia.
I don't think I will ever on this show probably give praise to Matt Patricia in his head coaching position there with the Detroit Lions.
He's just you gotta give it up for Matty P. He's a good coach.
Oh no, he's not.
He is.
He benefited from being with Bill Belichick, got a coaching job in a franchise that couldn't wait to get rid of a middle of the road head coach, and then he helped to run that team into the whatever, man. And I think that McCarthy's kind of, dude. Oh man. Anyway, it is what it is, man. It's it's in the past. I think Nagy there in Chicago. I think he's.
You think so?
I think so. They got to win, dude. How many? I mean, that team is ready to win, dude. I mean, as much as I kind of don't want to see the Bears succeed, they were a playoff team last year, man. I mean, they're not a bad team. They won that team won in spite of the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not bad. Maybe Pete Carroll.
You think, you know what? That's actually a good one. They've kind of underperformed the last few seasons, Mike, and they've had some earlier exits than they should have. I think Pete Carroll is actually a good choice. I mean, I'm sticking with McCarthy, but Pete Carroll's seat, I think, is getting warm. I think you're right about that. Pete Carroll's a good one. Who was the other one I was thinking of there? What about Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh?
Nah, they still won. They were in the positive last season. They were like 10-0 at one point.
And they wound up. I don't even think they won. Did they win their division? Didn't Cleveland wind up passing them for the division, and they got knocked out in the first? That team has underachieved kind of a lot.
Look.
Put it this way.
This is like when
I wouldn't say that he's on the hot seat, but I would say that the temperature on his chair has gotten a little bit warmer the last couple of years.
I disagree. Well, maybe. I don't know. What are the expectations in Pittsburgh? I don't think the expectation in Pittsburgh is Super Bowl or bust. I don't think it's there. I think it's close, but I don't think it's that this year.
You don't think that they're Super Bowl or bust?
I don't think so, man. I think for them, it's win the division, get into the playoffs, have success. But I think that Mike Tomlin, they're still having success, man. They're still getting in the playoffs. And I mean, yeah, they're not winning the playoff games that they want to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's the NFL, man. This is not like college football where the 4-team playoff is going to get extended to 8 teams. And we know we know 3 of those 8 teams really have a shot, like
Yeah.
legitimately. And we know there's like 3 teams that have a shot in college football right now. We know that, right? And I mean, you want to expand the playoff all you want, expand it to 64 teams. It doesn't, UCF isn't beating Alabama. They're not beating Ohio State. And I mean, that's just kind of how it is, man. Like the talent gap is a lot smaller in the NFL.
Yeah.
And for Tomlin to continually have the success that they have.
Yeah, I mean, he has not finished under 500. I think that they've wanted a little bit more. And you could be right. I mean, I haven't heard any rumors that they're tired of him or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like that they should have accomplished a little bit more.
What about Mike Zimmer in Minnesota?
I mean, again, I wouldn't say that he's on the hot seat per se. I would say that he's somebody that maybe another losing season and his seat's going to start getting warmer.
Really?
Yeah, no, I think he's done all right there. I don't think the expectations are astronomically high in Minnesota, and they've produced the last few years. And I kind of feel like they've been right around what they're supposed to be. Now, that being said, I don't think that they've taken that next step to being like a favorite in the NFC. Like the last 5 years or so, they've never been a favorite in the NFC to win the conference. But they've done, I kind of feel like exactly what they've been expected to be. Second, third in the NFC North, a first round appearance, a first round knockout type thing.
Okay. All right.
They had that game wrapped up against. No, they did that walk off against the Saints that year.
Stefon Diggs, yeah, the
Diggs,
catch, man.
And I believe did they make it to the NFC Championship game that year?
I don't recall, man. Like my history is just kind of foggy. It's been whatever. But I think Zimmer's on the hot seat. I think. Okay. What about your boy Belichick?
So I brought up this picture because the next question was going to be who's on the coolest seat in the NFL. And I think that, the gentleman over my left shoulder here, Mr. Andy Reid, has probably got the most comfortable seat in the NFL.
Him, Bruce Arians, the guys that went to the Super Bowl.
Now, you said, what about Belichick? I don't think Belichick is anywhere near a hot seat. I think that his chair is ice cold. My thing is I think Belichick might be getting tired of New England. So it's almost like Mr. Kraft. Mr. Kraft is on the hot seat almost, and I think Belichick might be saying that he's kind of done.
Belichick has all the control, man. He's the GM. He's the head coach.
There's the reports that Kraft had a lot to do with Jimmy G being traded, which Belichick was not a fan of. Yeah. There was a lot of rumors that Bob Kraft had a lot to do with Mac Jones getting picked, which Belichick didn't want to do.
Well,
and 22 years, 23 years, whatever it's been, there's going to start being some kinks in the armor. There was talks 3 years ago. Belichick actually started making calls to the New York Giants about their opening. I think there's a Seth Wickersham article that's going to be coming out where Belichick had been making calls. And so the reason why I put this picture up is that not that I think Belichick is, as comfortable as you could be, but I think that it's going to be him that's going to want out at some point. But these two, I think, have, the most comfortable seats in the NFL.
That's interesting to me. I can see how does the owner override the GM for the draft pick? Does he just like call down to the office like, hey, we're drafting Mac Jones? Or do you think he just went to Belichick and was like, you got to take this guy, Mac Jones?
Yeah, I think he basically told him like, listen, we need to address this, and I want it done now. And if he's there, I want that to be the pick. Now,
no, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's interesting because if Belichick leaves New England, right, Mac Jones may not have the successful career that a lot of people in Boston want him to have. I know I guess they moved Josh McDaniels into the head coaching position and stuff like that, but
yeah, I mean, he'd be the next one up. I mean, but yeah, I mean, so it's these two are 1 and 2. You know, McVay's great.
I know. Actually, that's interesting. It's win now for the Rams. It is win right now.
It is, but you know why it's win now? It's win now because of McVay. McVay's made that team win now, and I think that they know that.
What if they don't win? What if they go, 7-10? What if they go?
Put it this way, it's gonna take more than one bad season for him for there to be any talk about him, being put on the chopping block.
Do you think
he's earned himself a few years? I think he's earned himself a few years.
I'll say this. I agree. I agree some. I don't know if he has a few years. I think that the expectations with the Rams are very high. I don't think that they right now. I think it is win Super Bowl right now. You go and you get Matt Stafford. You largely have a lot of the same team returning. The Rams, the pressure's on in LA in LA for him. I think next, if they don't do it this year, if they have one of those, ho hum seasons where they go 8-9 or 9-8, whatever, 17 games now.
Yep.
It's next year we're talking about, is it time to move on from Sean McVay and stuff like that? You bring in somebody, like Matt Stafford, new quarterback. You get rid of Jared Goff, who was working in LA, maybe not working with McVay, but I mean, they were having success. You got to look at that because of the expectations, not because of Sean McVay. I wouldn't mind having Sean McVay. I mean, I like what we got going in Detroit, but there's a lot of teams that wouldn't mind having him, or at least a lot of fans.
Yeah, and I think for the first time in a while too, with McVay, there's a good crop of young coaches in the NFL, which is cool. Like, I think Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona is a good coach. Obviously, McVay. I think it's Joe Judge in New York. I think it's going to wind up working out well. There's good young coaches in the NFL. For a while there, and we had talked about this years back, it just seemed like it was like Bill Belichick, giant gap, Andy Reid, gap, and everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Tomlin up there too.
But it seems like the gap is starting to close. It seems like better coaches are starting to come into the league.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with that.
So it's good to see.
Yeah.
All right, we got a couple more. We're just gonna go run through quick, man.
I'm getting tired, Joe. I got to go to bed, man. It's 9 o'clock.
Couple worst division in the NFL. I think we both agree.
What about? Hold on. What about the AFC South?
AFC South. What is that? The Colts.
Hold on. Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and Titans.
Gotcha. Okay.
I still think it's the NFC East.
Yeah, no, I'm going NFC East.
But I mean, I will say the Redskins are still, Washington is still my pick for. You got the wrong logo, man. You got the old Washington logo here.
I know. I'm not.
You're making us look bad here, man. I still think that it's Washington's division this year. I think Dallas. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think Dallas is close. It's really close, man.
I think I think it's Dallas's division to win this year. I think Philly's going to be up there. I think all the teams are going to be improved. But Dallas just has the most talent.
I don't know, man. But you think Philly? I don't know. I mean, the Giants have people retiring because there was a fight at practice. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. Their receiver Galladay is, reports are he might be hurt again. I think it's probably a 2-horse race in the NFC East. But it's still Washington and Dallas, and I like Washington. I really do. And Dallas, to me, Dallas is like, if somebody gets hurt, it's over. And as a football team,
unfortunately, yeah, that you shouldn't be able to.
We're all gonna get hurt throughout the NFL year, man. I mean, if you're a player, even me as a fan, I'm gonna get hurt at some point emotionally, you know. But yeah, so if you don't have the depth, you're not going anywhere. So yeah, NFC East, yeah.
Worst. And then this is my pick for the best team in the NFL. Excuse me, the best division in the NFL.
Best division. Yeah, I'd probably go NFC West, man.
Top to bottom. I mean, all four teams can make cases to be serious playoff contenders.
Yeah.
You know, obviously one of them probably going to rule out, but you know, the Rams are strong, the Seahawks are strong. I think Kyler Murray's legit, and I really think that he's going to be an NFL MVP at some point in his career, and I think Arizona is about to make a very big jump. So I definitely think the NFC West. And what's funny is if you go, it shows you how the league has changed. If you go back a few years, it wasn't too long ago, the NFC West was terrible. I believe the Seahawks won it with under 500 record. So I mean, it just shows you how now probably 10 years or so, but it shows you that the league does evolve, and now you got probably the best division in the NFL.
You remember when the Rams had Jeff Fisher, and it was just like, dude, you know, y'all just got to get rid of that guy, man. I will say this, man. I don't agree at the moment about your prediction with Arizona. However, you in the past, and I remember this, you predicted when Matt Ryan first got to Atlanta. I remember that, man, because we were on flight deck. We were doing duty section turnover, right? And it was oh man, was it like a Sunday morning or something like that? No, it was like one game had gone by. I think it was a Monday morning.
Yeah.
We had duty on Sunday.
Okay.
Or no, we had duty on like Tuesday, right? And we were doing duty section turnover Tuesday morning.
Yep.
And I remember I was pissed. Detroit lost or something. It might have been the 0-16 season, or I don't know, whatever. It was one of those.
Yep.
Years, and I was upset and I was pissed off at the same time because I was in the Navy and it was set, 8:00 in the morning and it was hot anyway. And you turn around to me like, what about my boy Matt Ryan? And I was just like, shut up, Joey. But I mean, like, you called that, right? So I will say I don't.
Well, it was the number one pick in the draft. I mean,
yeah, you know.
And not that I mean, he hasn't done all.
Doesn't just like, I mean, he's good. Matt Ryan's good, right? I wouldn't, not want Matt Ryan on my team. I mean, he's a solid quarterback. But I mean, my thing is that like you kind of have this I think, which I don't like because I don't agree with Arizona pick and Kyler Murray and all that.
Yeah. I just see a lot. I see a lot of Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Murray, and Kyler Murray. Obviously, it's too soon to put that sort of praise on him. I just see that type of a quarterback in him. It's not all about his legs. He can make stuff happen with his arm. I like him. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to be an MVP at some point in his career.
He's legit, man. I still got San Francisco for that division, but it really, that's a 4-horse race, man. It can go any way. It really can. And I think maybe I'm overlooking Arizona a little bit, and they got talent over there too, right?
No, they do. They do.
There's a lot of talent on that roster, so it can definitely happen.
All right, Mike. What fan base / team annoys you the most?
Look, I know the easy answer here is the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Absolutely, that is, and I'm going to show you who mine is.
It's the easy answer. But I don't know, man. I think the Dallas Cowboy team annoys me the most. Of all teams, the Cowboy team annoys me the most because they get talked about the most. They get a lot of primetime games. They move the needle, you know what I mean? It's just Jerry, the Jones family.
Everything is Jerry Jones.
Yeah, they have done an amazing job marketing their brand. They really have. It's a global brand. They're the New York Yankees of football. Everybody knows them. They really are. And they've had success in the past. hasn't been really recent, but they did have, they had Tom Landry, Roger Staubach, they had the Cowboys in the 90s there. I mean, I don't know if they're back to that now, but I mean, they just did a great
The
job.
whole America's team was a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, there's no other team that did that. And Jerry he's just kind of ahead of the curve in like, all right, what are we going to do this year to market our team and everything like that? It's the Dallas Cowboys, man. I mean, they're the most popular team in the NFL. That team just kind of annoys me because they're not successful on the field. They're just not. They didn't go let me win some playoff games here, stuff like that. And I mean, they just haven't had that success. And we wind up talking about a team that's mediocre because they're popular. And that's bullshit. It really is. And that's just, it shouldn't be that way. We should be
they get all kinds of Sunday night games and then time games.
And I mean, we should be talking about, Tampa Bay, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cleveland, Washington, teams that are in the playoffs, division winners, stuff like that. That's not the Cowboys. And we wind up talking about them because they're popular. So that team bothers me. The fan base that bothers me the most has got to be the Green Bay Packers fan base.
Yeah.
I have a problem with them. I do. I really do, man.
Mine is dude, the Cleveland Brown fans. My God. You talk about all they want to do is tell you how loyal they are and how great of a fan base they are, and it's insufferable. And now that the team's had one good year, they're the greatest gift to the NFL, and it's like the woe is us mentality, and we deserve it because we're a great. No, you don't.
And I gotta say, it's kind of the Detroit Lions fan base really pisses me off at the same time, man, because we just you're on the message boards, you're in these group chats and stuff like that, and I'm just like, man, you guys, it's not. They all want to draft a wide receiver every year. Oh, we need wide receivers, man. Nope. For what? Like, you can get a wide receiver. I mean, you can get a wide receiver in the 6th and 7th round, man. The first, oh man, we got to get these wide. Like, it just pisses me, and it's like,
yeah, that's when like it's just a fan that's a fantasy sports fan,
Yeah, and I mean, there's like this just like blind fandom. It's almost like this willingness to just not see what's happening, and like when Matt Stafford was there, man, it was like if you said something bad about Matt Stafford, it was like, 1930s Germany. You know what I mean? Like this, like it's just like, dude, how dare you say something bad about Matt? Like, dude, he's kind of like Jeff George or Brett Favre or like one of these gunslinging quarterbacks. I mean, he doesn't have the big win. I mean, he's talented, yeah, and without him, like Detroit was pretty irrelevant for a long time. They're still kind of irrelevant. And I mean, it's kind of like you should be allowed to speak out against your team and their performance. I'm sure you see it with the Patriots fans.
Oh yeah, it's you can't say anything negative, and you gotta be able to be a fan, but also see when your team isn't doing the right thing. That was not the right thing.
Dude, I got his jersey. I got the Roy Williams jersey. I remember that. Yeah.
Is that Roy Williams? Is that that's Rogers?
Or is that Rogers?
Yeah.
Charles Rogers? Yeah, it is Charles Rogers. My bad.
Sorry. But yeah, you got to be able to take off the rose glasses every now and then.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing, Mike. Real quick, what team do you see having the best turnaround for this year?
Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers.
I think that I thought about that. I thought this was probably the most interesting question on the list there. I think that Sam Darnold is going to have a really good year. The Carolina Panthers owner is not the type of owner to be like, he is doing everything he can to try to get that team to win.
Yeah, that's the Con guy, is it? No,
No,
he's
that's
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. I forget his name, man. You can, I don't know, pull up a picture or something. But
Yeah,
I think that Christian McCaffrey doesn't get talked about enough. You're talking about a team who probably could go and beat the Dallas Cowboys almost on every Sunday they play, and they don't get talked about enough. They do, however, play in the NFC South, so they are not winning that division. However, they also play against Atlanta and New Orleans. And if you're gonna judge a team's success by who has the best quarterback, I think that Carolina could be the second best team in that division. Atlanta's kind of in a rebuild. Feel bad for Matt Ryan. It kind of is what it is. And New Orleans, we don't know what they are without Drew Brees. I know they're not going to be like what they were with Drew Brees, and Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston are in a quarterback battle. They're in a battle. You're telling me Jameis Winston isn't better than Taysom Hill? Okay. So, I mean, you don't have if you have two quarterbacks, you got no quarterback. Like, that's how it is.
That's a great statement. And I've heard that. And that if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
You don't. So I think the Panthers have a pretty big turnaround this year. I think the defense is better than advertised. And
I agree with you on Darnold. I think the Jets gave up on him a little bit quick. Now, granted, they think that they saw something better, so whatever. But I think that they gave up on Darnold quick. And I think that the change of atmosphere and what is it? Rivera's there, right? No, Rivera's in Washington. They got the guy from Baylor. The guy, the coach from Baylor there.
Matt Rule?
Rule, yes.
Matt Rule?
From Baylor, yep.
Yeah. But this is the second year of Matt Rule, right?
Yeah, but I mean, year one, you're trying to get everything under, like, you get a little bit of a learning curve there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Darnold could do well there.
I do too, and it pains me. I mean, I want to go with my not hometown pick, but my own personal team pick and saying the Detroit Lions, but I think that Carolina has a bigger turnaround. Plus, in Detroit, it's rookie coaching staff and everything like that. Got some veterans on the roster, but whatever. Could be New England. I don't know, man. Who do you think? Why don't go ahead?
I'm going with the Patriots, baby. I'm bought in. I know I said some negative things earlier. Mac Jones, he's going to get the job, and he's just going to take the bull by the horns. Mac Jones, it's the Mac attack time.
Mac, is that what they're saying? Mac attack?
No, I gotta hope.
Mac and cheese.
That'll get mac and shit. God. No, and honestly, we just said if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if Cam Newton isn't a Patriot by October.
Nah, I don't know. You don't trade one of your quarterbacks.
I didn't say they're going to trade him.
You think they're going to cut him?
I think that there's a chance Cam Newton could be cut by October. Mac Jones takes the reins. I think it's going to be a very boring, workman-like offense. Very similar to the 2001 Patriots. Very, ground and pound, dink and dunk. The defense looks solid. With or without Gilmore, if they can get Gilmore to come back, I think they'll be golden. But this team will be in the playoffs this year. They will be back in the playoffs. And I think that they can battle for the division. And Mike, if there's one thing you got to give me.
What do you want me to do here, man?
If there's one thing you got to give me, it's that I'm not a total homer. I love my team.
I will agree with that.
I'm not a complete homer.
No.
But my boys are going to battle for the division.
I will agree with that, man. I think that you're still suffering from preseason excitement, which I guess has just rocked the NFL nation for some reason. I mean, I don't know, man. It's just Chicago's going to the Super Bowl, and now the Patriots it's going to be New England versus Chicago this year. And it's not. I think it might just be Tampa Bay versus Kansas City again. There's a lot of returning players.
But you gotta hold on to that for another couple of weeks. We'll definitely have a prediction show.
Look, man. I need 2 weeks. I mean, the thing is, by week one, after week 1, you have a really good idea of like how the year is going to go and how each team is going to play. You just have such a better idea by like week 6 or 7, barring major injury, which I think is going to happen in Indianapolis to Carson Wentz because he always gets hurt. He already did once, and now they're saying he's going to come back week 1. So, okay. I'd be surprised he's going to re-injure the foot, but whatever, man. Barring injury, we will really know what propensities each team displays and has and stuff like that. And I'll say this: if New England is by week 7, going into week 7, if New England is 3-3, I would say you got to keep going with Cam. But in that week 7 game, if Cam is struggling, because this is after September, right? We're 6 weeks in, going on 7. This is after September, and Belichick knows after September, man, this, there's no more messing around. Might be time to switch to Mac, and you might, I will say, man, there might be a little jump in the energy level of the team if Mac goes in. We'll see, because that's real shit, man. So
hey, like I said, it could happen. Who knows, man? Like I believe they're on the way back, man. And I think Bill's gonna pull the right trigger. And we'll see, man. And that's what's the best part about right now is there's optimism for everybody.
that's true, yeah.
It's probably the best part of the season,
I still, I don't think that the Sam Darnold trade has really, it really put old CG7 got the gold anchor. Is that the gold anchor one?
It is.
Oh man, yeah. I think that the Sam Darnold trade doesn't get enough speculation or hype or anything like that. So I think Carolina's really flying under the radar. I don't know. I'm not predicting them to be, division winners or anything like that. But I think in terms of biggest turnaround, they're my pick.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, man. And like I said, maybe next week we'll probably do a prediction show. We'll actually dig into the schedule a little bit, and we'll get our real Super Bowl picks. Maybe even talk a little bit fantasy football. And,
yeah. I'm in a fantasy football league this year. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
We'll talk some college football realignment.
That's a big thing. Yeah, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. Real quick, I'm just gonna if you let me real quick. So obviously, me and you know each other from serving in the Navy, and what happened today. Just I know we don't have a ton of viewers or anything, but just thoughts with the people and the Marines and sailors who lost their life today.
I heard about that.
It is a brotherhood, and I met Mike in the Navy on our ship there, and it was tough news to hear today. But just want to throw that out there, man. But we'll be back with some more sports.
I don't know if people really understand. It's kind of like when you talk about the friends that you have made and the bond that you kind of like forged in the military, and you try to talk about that with people who haven't been in the military. It's kind of like it's you can't really, they don't really know, and you don't really know how to explain it. You know what I mean? It just kind of is what it is, so for to hear about what happened today and everything like that, and to hear about it happen on any day, it definitely hits. It definitely, I don't know if you feel it the way that they're, those families feel it and stuff like that, but you feel it, man. And so I don't know how to really, explain that to people who don't really understand, or not necessarily don't understand, but just haven't had those experiences. And that's not anybody else's fault or anything. We all just, we're all going through the life, that we've been given. And it's just kind of the way it is, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. We'll try and do it again next week. And
Try to do a little better next week. Try to get better each time.
all right. See you guys later.